Oops. Oh, hello, baby. What's that noise? Did you hear a big bang? Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well today. This is the first morning that I've got out of bed in such a long time and it just feels like winter. I'm looking outside and the sky is dark. It kind of feels like the day hasn't started yet and it's rainy and it's kind of sleety and cold. And it's just the kind of weather that makes you want to stay inside and do nothing. So I thought today I could try and kind of use that to my advantage and I could turn a cozy day into hopefully quite a productive day. I've got loads of planty things that I've been kind of saying in videos for ages. Oh, at some point I'm going to do that, and at some point I'm going to chop this up and repot this. And I thought today could be that day, the day that I kind of hold myself accountable and hopefully get through lots of things. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And as I always say with these kind of videos, if you've got stuff that you need to get through as well, maybe things that you've been putting off or struggling to get started with, let's do them together. It's always so much easier when you feel like you're doing them with a friend. So yes, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So I'm having one of those mornings today where I'm aware that there's loads of things that need to be done and the thought of everything is feeling a little bit overwhelming, and I don't know, I just often find that like until I find my flow and I start doing things, the thought of the things scares me, if that makes sense to anyone. So hence why I'm filming here. I thought I would just set up the camera, press record and kind of chat through things a little bit with you guys as I go, and then hopefully I'll find a rhythm and a structure of things and it will all become a little bit easier. So I think what I'm going to start with, I think I'm going to make another cup of coffee, and I think I'm probably going to get a pen and paper and just go round my collection, maybe do a little bit of watering and a little bit of general maintenance and just kind of get an idea of the things that I want to get through today, because as I say, I think if I don't have some structure there, I think I'm probably just going to drift and end up doing all sorts. So yeah, I'm going to just go and look at what the most important things are. Alocasia green shield for the first time in so long has actually got 4 leaves, which is unheard of. This plant has been in the 2-leaf club for such a long time, and you guys said that you thought it needed some more space to grow, so I put it into a much bigger container, and since I've done that it has been doing much better. I do get the sense that this one might be about to die back, but this feels like progress. Also, there are so many fungus gnats in my cabinet. I really need to do a nematode treatment. I did the rest of the room fairly recently, but in here still needs doing, and I haven't actually got any more nematodes at the moment, so that's going to have to go onto the list for another day, annoyingly. This is, for me, very, very, very exciting. It doesn't look like much at the moment, but this little sprout is a Welwitschia mirabilis, and if you've watched my weird plant series here on YouTube, this is the one that is commonly known as the living fossil plant. And this type of plant has been on Earth supposedly thousands of years before dinosaurs existed, and it can actually live to be, I think, like 8,000 years old or something like that. And I did manage to track down some seeds about 2 months ago, and oh my goodness, it has been a mission to get these things to sprout. They are supposedly quite difficult to grow, and I'm still definitely not out of the woods yet, but a couple of them have sprouted, and that makes me so excited because it's such a beautiful and unusual houseplant. So yeah, I will keep you updated with that. couple, can you see just there at the top? Found a couple of Mealybugs. That one is on one of my Hoyas, and Hoyas are a little bit of a magnet for Mealybugs. This is my Hoya and Gelato Red. But I think I know exactly where the Mealybugs are coming from, which leads me on to something fairly major that I think I might do today, and that is chopping up my Monstera Dubia. I know I've been kind of hinting at it for ages, and I've been saying, oh, maybe at some point I'll chop it all up and I'll propagate it and I'll start it again. It is a plant that, and I've said this before, I don't know why, in the time that I've owned it, it has just been really susceptible to mealybugs. And the new section of growth, which you can't really see from here, but it goes like all the way up on top of that shelf. The new section of growth has had so many mealybugs on it, and I haven't been able to really like move or isolate the plants because it is so big and vast. So I think that is probably going to be the first thing I start with today, because I think it's a fairly big thing to do. So yeah, I'm gonna just set a few plants to one side if I find anything on them, and hopefully removing the problem will eradicate the pests as well, but obviously I might just need to do a bit of a treatment in this area. So yes, right, first big thing on the list. And in my Dieffenbachia care video that I made a few weeks ago, I demonstrated how to propagate this plant, and look already at all of those roots. I wouldn't say it's quite ready to be potted yet, but it's doing well, and that is actually, for this time of year, considering it has been quite a lot colder as well, that's pretty good going. Oh, and I found something else that needs addressing fairly urgently. This is really sad. This is my aloe tiki tahi, and I've had this plant, I've grown this plant from a teeny tiny pup, and it's savable. However, look in there, that is completely, rotten. That is just rotted away to nothing. And it has got lots of pups that it's giving me, so I think I should probably separate these healthy sections of growth and ditch the rest, which is such a shame. Again, as I say, at this time of year, overwatering is so easy to do, particularly if a plant like this, which is obviously a succulent, has been used to getting quite high levels of light, and then all of a sudden it's not. So I suspect that's what has happened here. But yeah, again, another one to put to one side. Okay, so I've made a note of several things, including the Monstera Dubia chop, which I am going to start with. Several things that I think are going to probably take me most of the morning. I have just rehydrated my Dubia's moss pole just because I would like to, I think I'm going to have a shower in a minute and kind of clear my head and think about how I'm going to do this. But I think I will probably chop up the pole as well. So I wanted it to be really hydrated. By doing it now and then going away and coming back to it, it does just give the moss a chance to kind of absorb all of the moisture, and hopefully it will make my life a little bit easier. Oh, so yeah, scary chop day. But I am going to have a shower, have some breakfast, get changed, get my motivation going, and then I'm gonna start. Oh my goodness, Yoli is doing the cutest thing. So she's not in her bed, but she's taken one of the sofa cushions and she's using it as a little snout rest. I'll try and take a clip and put it in because it is absolutely adorable. But before we get back to planty things, I just want to thank Foreo again for partnering with me for today's video. And I'm also really excited about it because it means I get to take a little moment this morning and practice some self-care, which I don't know, the older I get or the more I go through life, I just feel like I want to make time throughout my day for relaxing, gentle, just like calming, nice things. And so I've told you before about the Foreo UFO 3, and honestly, I have raved about this thing, and I've shown you my before and afters. And in the time that I've been using it, my skin has just come such a long way, and it's become a really solid part of my skincare routine. So this morning, I'm going to use the app to control it, and I'm probably going to do a combination of red light therapy, cryotherapy, and T-sonic massage, just because personally that's the setting I really like to use, and it works really well for me. And this is also still my favourite mask of theirs. There's loads of them, but that one is my favourite. Foreo are currently having a huge Black Friday sale where you can get up to 50% off their products, along with an additional 10% on top of that when you use my coupon code. I'll leave all the details you need down in the description box below, and thank you again, Foreo, for partnering with me. So I've just had breakfast and I've had a moment to sit and kind of think about how I want to do things. And I think the main obstacle here is the fact that my Monstera Dubia, I'll put a clip in of how it's growing because it's come right off the moss pole. It's growing on top of the shelves. I've attempted to air layer certain sections with like Tupperware boxes and cups. I'm not sure how well it's worked, but it's basically growing very awkwardly and it's going to be incredibly awkward to move. So I think what I really need to start with is clearing out pretty much all of the plants that are currently by the window and just create a bit of space to try and slide it out. I haven't taken my Monstera Dubia out of the spot in like months. So we will see. It may be a challenge, but that is what I'm going to start with. Found more Mealybugs, which just yet again reaffirms the fact that I'm making the right decision. But can you see all up the stem there? I don't know why it's only focusing on me. Okay, you can just take my word for it. There are like 4 Mealybugs. So I think I'm going to have to do a lot of pest treating. Oh my goodness, Mealybugs are so disgusting. If you're squeamish, look away from the following clip because it will make your skin crawl. But that's what I've just seen on my Monstera Dubia. And again, as I say, it just reaffirms that the problem is coming from there. And yeah, I think what I'm actually gonna do is I think I'm gonna chop that top section that I've propagated. I think I'm gonna chop that first and bring it over. And then I think it should allow me to maneuver the bottom section of the plant on the moss pole a little bit easier as opposed to bringing the whole thing over. Right, so, oh my God, this is my top cut. And this is just how big my Monstera Dubia has got. Like, that is the size of its leaves. It's absolutely crazy. Oh my God, but yeah, even seeing up close here, I can see Mealybugs on it. Oh my God. Oh dear. I'm not going to continue putting clips on the screen because I say I'm aware some of you are squeamish, but like the whole top of that leaf is a little bit white and that's all mealybugs. Yeah, oh my God. And also, yeah, like there's even a bit where I've taken the cuts before and there's mealybugs in here. Ugh, this is so disgusting. Like I would say, in fact, I feel like I need to put some clips in just to show you how bad this is. So again, if you don't want to see it, look away now and then I won't have to show you anymore, but they are everywhere in here. So before I chop up the rest of the plant, I'm gonna just sit down with some isopropyl alcohol and I'm just gonna treat this section and then I can get it through to the bathroom and attempt to isolate it while I think about how I'm going to propagate it. So yeah, right, let's do that first. So I'm gonna just sit down here and as I say, go over this plant with isopropyl alcohol, which is this stuff here. I get it on Amazon. I will link it below. And any mealybug that comes into contact with that, if you use it in its pure form, is just going to be killed. And I've said it in videos before, I am an animal person. I really don't like killing anything, but you kind of got to when it gets to this level, which I would say is teetering on infestation. This is not just one or two, and this is spreading to other plants. I'm trying to just make sure that there are no other plants in the way as I do this. Whew. And then we can move on to the chopping of the main plant, which actually doesn't look quite as mealybuggy just from what I've looked at. That is often the case with plants. It's the new growth that's commonly affected the worst, I guess just because it's softer and they can kind of get their teeth into it more. Oh my God, it's so hard to know where to start with this because they are literally everywhere. So I guess I'm just going to try and start from the stem and then work my way around all of the leaves and hopefully get gone as many as I possibly can. Oh God, I don't even know where to put this. Okay, I'm going to put that there. But yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I've been wanting to chop my Monstera Dubia for a while is obviously the fact that it takes up so much space, but I have, in literally the whole time of owning this plant, been aware that it is one, for me, that has been really susceptible to mealybugs, and now I'm kind of thinking maybe it's the type of plant, but also maybe it's the fact that I just have never really got them gone. It's never been this bad before. I actually don't know if I've ever had a mealybug infestation quite this bad. In fact, that's such a lie. There was a Hoya, my Hoya crincolate, that I put a bag on for an experiment and I let it get really bad and that got awful. Like, oh, if this makes your skin crawl, that was another level of gross. But yeah, I've got to say, this is up there with one of the worst mealybug encounters I've had. And yeah, like I kind of have just been wanting to reset my Monstera Dubia for a while, partly because obviously I have given it a really, really big chop in the past. I think probably about this time last year, I chopped up, or I took the big, also there is a really loud beeping noise, so I'm sorry if you can hear that. But I took a big cut of the top section and I regrew the plant, and it was so easy to do and it regrew really quickly. So I'm not quite as like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like as scary a chop as it did the last time. And also, I don't want to say too much about this on YouTube at the moment, but if you're on my Patreon, then you will know there's a few things kind of bubbling away behind the scenes for me and Ross at the moment. And it's kind of making me think that, you know what, I want to rethink a few things with my collection and how I want things to be moving forward for the foreseeable future, I guess. And one of the things that I was thinking is, you know what, this Monstera Dubia is taking up a lot of space. And I've got ideas about how I'd like to grow it in the future. So yeah, as I say, it doesn't feel like a scary chop per se. I do, however, hope that I'm able to save this lovely top section of growth because it is so lovely And obviously the size of the growth is just insane. So yeah, I'd really like to be able to not lose it. I would have thought it will be fine, but I think maybe this pest checking, or pest treating, sorry, might need to be a regular thing for the next couple of months. God, like, where do you isolate something this big? This is the thing. In my current space, it is near impossible. Obviously I can put it in the bathroom, but the bathroom has no windows or natural light, and particularly, well, this plant is going to need to re-root and everything because it hasn't got much of a root system in here. I know I did a little bit of air layering, not a huge amount of roots. So yes, it's a little bit scary, but right, I'm just going to whiz through this, get the worst of it gone, the worst of them gone, and then we can chop the big plant. So many that are so small they almost don't look like mealybugs yet, and they're the ones that are so easy to miss. So I can imagine if, I was going to say, if you don't have great eyesight, maybe put, I don't know, a magnifying glass up to your plant or something. In fact, I should probably be doing that. I'll probably get this plant under the microscope later, in fact, and give it a really, really good look over. But the only good thing about it happening to a plant like this as opposed to a Hoya or something, oh my God, also I've just seen them all over this one. They are covering this leaf, all those little dots of white. Yeah, but the only good thing about it happening to a plant like this is that the surface area of the leaves means that you can kind of see things pretty well. It's not as compact as, like, as I say, Hoyas or something like that. So although it's a pain, it does make it a little bit easier. Oh my goodness, I have no idea how long I will have just cut that montage down to, but this has taken such a long time. I am just praying the rest of the plant isn't this bad. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just take this section and I'm going to go put it through into the bath so that it is not close to any other plants. And I will give it a really good shower down later, and I think I'm probably going to have to just continue treatments like this. I don't know, check it every couple of days and hope that I can do a thorough enough job to get them all gone, whilst also, as I say, this plant is propagating, because it's got, let me try to hold it up and show you, it's got a decent little root system in there. You can see it's rooted all around like the bottom of the box and stuff. But considering the scale of the growth, not a huge root system, and I would have thought it's going to need a little bit of TLC, and ideally not pest treating to this extent at the same time. But hey ho, these things happen. So, right, bathroom, and then we can deal with the rest of the plant. So the good thing is, with this section here, which obviously has massively turned to face the light, I've just given it a really good look over, and apart from one or two just at the top where I just chopped the plant, I can't see any more mealybugs on this bit. So that's a good thing. But thinking about how I'm going to chop this plant, it's kind of difficult, and I feel like I need to sit down and actually talk it through with you. So it's very, very well rooted into the moss pole, In fact, if I give it a spin, you can see it's got some crazy, like that one there has not rooted into the moss pole. Can you see that? It's got some crazy aerial roots that kind of run all the way down the pole and mean that like trying to untangle them is going to be near impossible and definitely not something I've got the energy or patience for today. So what I am thinking is I think that top section just there that's hanging off the top, I think I'm just gonna chop that. That actually isn't rooted, and I've never taken a cutting of Monstera Dubia that hasn't had some form of aerial roots, and I'm a little bit nervous about doing so because I have heard that it can be quite difficult to propagate unless you've got some roots first. So I guess that will just be an experimental section, and then the rest of the plant. What I'm thinking is I'm going to chop the moss pole into little bits. So I've got my scissors and I've got my wire cutters here, and I'm essentially going to create slices of moss pole that then I can keep hydrated and probably put into a prop box with the leaf cuts. Bear with me, I think I know what I'm saying. And then that should allow it to be able to stay, oh my God, what am I saying? Its aerial roots stay nice and hydrated and not disrupted too much. That's where I'm going, not disrupted too much, while it hopefully produces some new roots and eventually new growth. And then these bits, all of these cuttings, of which there will be many, I think will then be ones that I take to plant swaps or just do like general kind of community swaps and stuff like that, send to people that want the plant. Because I, assuming it doesn't all go very wrong, have got that beautiful top cutting. So yeah, this is all just about clearing a little bit of space. So let's do it, shall we? This is, it is scary. I know I said I've done it before and therefore I shouldn't be scared, but it is scary. It's such a beautiful plant. And part of me doesn't want to do it now that I'm looking at it like this, but I've come this far, so I need to do it. I don't need to do it, but I've chickened out so many times before, so I'm just gonna do it. Yeah, it's so weird, no mealybugs at all. I'm still obviously not gonna go putting these like right in next to other plants. In fact, this plant shouldn't really have stayed here for as long as it stayed. I just didn't have anywhere else to put it. But it's good we're in the clear. Oops. Oh, I just sliced a beautiful leaf. Oh, what a shame. Oh, I've just sliced that leaf off without a node. How sad is that? Yeah, I've got this section here, which I will be able to put into a prop box, but I've just lost that lovely leaf. I wonder if I could do some art or something with this. Or should I just throw it? I don't know. What a shame. Plants mature, they often develop this, I don't know the name of it, so if any of you do, let me know, but this kind of woodiness to them. I was pointing it out on one of my begonias the other day, saying that as the plant was growing up and maturing, the base of it was getting very woody, and they essentially do this to turn kind of like into like a trunky texture so that they can support the growth. So as the plant matures, this commonly happens, but it does just mean it is so difficult to cut through. I've got a really sharp knife that I'm using to do this, and it is so difficult. So yeah, I'm trying to make the cleanest cuts possible, and to be honest, they're not bad, but yeah, this is hard work. But now we are on to not just chopping up the plant, but also chopping up the pole. I know I very casually said how I was going to do this, and I'm now just wondering if it's actually going to work or not. Okay. Right, that's one of like 12. Okay, so that's what I mean. That's what I was talking about. So as you can see, I've now got a section of moss pole with 2 nodes on it. And in fact, I don't think I'm going to do individual nodes. I think I might stick with this and do 2 at a time. But yeah, now hopefully because there's roots in there already, it will just continue to root and then the plant will be able to just keep growing. Again, I'm looking for mealybugs and I can't see any on these sections. I also know I said about putting this into a prop box, and I don't know what kind of prop box I was thinking of because these are huge cuts. So again, this is another thing we can figure out shortly. Like that, for example. Look at that aerial root. That's literally like wood. That is so thick. But again, another lovely cut. This bottom section here obviously doesn't have any leaves on, and I think for the time being, until it starts to sprout again, I might leave this as is because it's got a fantastic root system in this pot. Yeah, I don't think there's any benefit really in putting this into a prop box, so I'm gonna put this to one side. But what I am left with, let's just move the knives and sharp things out of Yoli's way. Poor Yoli, who I have thrown out of her bed and thrown bits of Monstera Dubia into it. Her bed is due for a wash, so again, that's the next thing to do after this. But I have got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 big bits like this that I want to put into a prop box. And I was thinking as I was doing that, and I think I have got an idea about how I could actually do that and make it work. Hello, baby, come on, in you come. She's scared because I'm making noise and chopping things and taking up her space. I'm very sorry, sweetheart. But let me grab... Hello, Yos. Let me grab the prop box and I'll show you what I am thinking. So I've got a big, deep storage box like this one, and although I think it's very unlikely I'm going to be able to get plants in there and put the lid on, which I know is typically what a prop box is, I'm kind of thinking with the ones that are rooting in the moss pole, I could put them in there kind of like this. In fact, you know what, I could almost squeeze their leaves in. At least these ones I could, because then obviously the moss pole will stay hydrated. I didn't think this would fit. Let's have a go. Okay, no. Some of it is going to be a squeeze. But what I was going to say is I can essentially store them in here. Yes, this takes up a lot of room. However, I will be finding these sections homes. Oh, Yoli. New homes at some point soon. So I think for the time being, it just keeps them out of the way and it allows me to be able to still like monitor them. I know it's not ideal. In fact, I might rethink this after filming, but just for the time being, it seems like a practical way of storing them and making sure that they don't get too damaged. I'm also not gonna start putting water or anything in there until they're properly calloused, because I have just chopped them. Oh, but there we go, a box of Monstera Dubia. And I will come back to that once I've had a think over the next few days, I expect. And then of course I've got these other sections, which are the ones that aren't yet rooted. And again, I'm not going to do anything with them until they've calloused, but I think my go-to is going to be sphagnum moss again. In fact, some of them I have tried to air layer, and you can see that did start to develop a root system, but I did just let it dry out. So that is completely my own fault. And just a reminder to stay on top of your air layering and making sure things are nice and moist and hydrated. But I've got 3 of those. Again, similar thing here, tried an air layering, it dried out. But I will probably just put them into the same kind of container and just keep them maybe by the window. And then this wet stick bit. Oh, is that mealy? Any white I'm seeing now, I'm just assuming it's Mealybugs. I can't see any Mealybugs, but that just looked a little bit white to me, so I'm just going to keep an eye on that. But yeah, I think I will probably just put this into one of my just standard moss perlite propagation boxes. And then, yeah, come back to that top section. There were a couple of other things I wanted to do. I mean, actually, in fact, I'm gonna do the, not the aloe vera, the aloe tiki tahi. What I am gonna do first though, is I'm gonna take these through to the bathroom as well, because I would like to give those sections of Monstera Dubia a shower down. In fact, I think all of them should have a shower down. I think all of them just should, because that area has obviously been so pesty. And also, I'm not going to bore you with doing it in this video, but I will be taking everything off the shelves, because, oh God, I'm going to have to go through everything and just make sure everything's okay, because I would be amazed if that had just stayed contained. So yeah, that can be this evening's job. But I want to do the aloe tiki tahi, and also there's a begonia that I put on my list that I wanted to pot up. So yeah, I'm just gonna have a clean up first. And I've actually just gone and changed as well. I've put on the jumper that I was wearing at the beginning of this morning, just in case I have got any, like, anything mealybug related on my jumper that might spread to other plants that I'm going to do things with. So I'm going to just get the plants that I've currently got in the kitchen. And you know what? I was looking at them in the kitchen. I was like, I feel like I'm appreciating them at an angle that I don't usually get to appreciate them. But I'm going to just get them back into their positions for now. I am going to get everything out and do kind of like a deep clean, pest check, treat, all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to stick with my list for the time being. I'm going to just put everything back superficially for the time being, and then I can continue. What am I saying? I'm actually losing my mind today. I feel like that Monstera Dubia chop has just absolutely taken it out of me. And I feel a little delirious now. So yes, let's get things back, and then let's move on, and then I can carry on later. So I already had some mix in this bowl. And I've just added a bit of Soil Ninja base mix and tree fern fibre. I'm going to mix this up for the begonia. This is my, I can never remember the exact name, but I think it's a Corallina, something like that. It's absolutely beautiful and it is very well rooted in here. It doesn't have a huge root system, but in my experience with oh my God, I'm out of breath. I've literally just carried soil over. But in my experience so far with begonias, even if they do have quite a small root system, they're usually okay going into substrate. So I'm just going to treat it exactly as I have all of my other ones so far. And then I thought any leftover mix that I've got from that for this, I could just add some grit and sand and stuff like that into and use for these little sections of aloe, because yeah, I would like to save that because it's looking so sad. I'm really slightly baffled about that. In fact, I'm kind of thinking, or I'm wondering if maybe it's because I haven't divided the pups that this has happened. Just because this has happened very, very suddenly, and I've been looking at this plant for, oh God, like months, thinking, oh, I need to divide those pups, and I just haven't done it. So I'm wondering if maybe the mother plant has sacrificed itself to save its babies because I should have repotted. I don't know. But yeah, as I say, I'm going to set that one to one side. I'm going to do the begonia first. And in fact, I'm just going to see if I've got a bigger container. No, so I'm going to just use the container that I've got this in at the moment. I'm just going to empty out this water and then do what I've pretty much done for, I think, all of the begonias that I'm successfully growing, is just have a little layer of semi-hydro followed by a chunky mix and then just do a no drainage system. I'm just finding that works really well. And also, oh my goodness, I meant to say this earlier, like, I don't know if you noticed when I was going around with my watering can this morning and kind of noting everything that needed doing, I was like, it is so much easier to just pot around and check on my plants when I'm not having to like get my washing up bowl out and all that sort of stuff. And I do still do that for a lot of my plants, but for so many now, I have got them into no drainage systems that I can just monitor the reservoir and I just pot around and just kind of look at what needs doing, and it's just quick, easy, simple, and just a really nice way of doing things. Oh, but the other thing I was going to say is that I know over the last kind of month, some of you have made me aware that there's been language issues on my channel. Like when you turn a certain video on, it might be dubbed in a foreign language. And oh God, it's been a pain trying to get to the bottom of it, but I think I have potentially solved that issue now. So I really hope that none of you will experience that again. It's been very annoying, and it's also kind of just made me aware of, as a creator, how like vulnerable you are, because obviously pretty much my full-time job now is, or like most of my income stream comes from YouTube, and it's always been great because I always feel like it's very much in my control and all that sort of stuff. But obviously when things like that happen, people go, oh, you know what, I don't want to watch that video, or that doesn't make sense, I'm going to click away. And it has really messed with the organic growth of my video performance. Like this last month and a half, my videos have been massively underperforming, and I haven't been able to figure out why until I sussed the language thing. So yeah, if you tried to watch my other videos and you couldn't because of language issues, feel free to go back and watch them again. Because I'm just aware that now there's some content that I've created that, I don't know, that might not get seen by as many people because people haven't been able to watch it. And yeah, like there's only so much you can do, but I think as a self-employed person, as I say, it just makes you go, oh my God, this is scary. And hope that things kind of pick up again. Ooh. Also, I've got new growth coming through in here, and I'm trying not to cover the new growth in soil. However, I am Doing a very bad job of not getting it all over the plant. It's also back to feeling like it's the middle of the night. And I was going to say, maybe it'll feel much brighter in here now I don't have the massive Monstera Dubia by the window. But yeah, it literally feels like nighttime. I've got the grow lights on, I've got the main lights on in here. And it feels dark and gloomy, and it looks a little bit dark and gloomy on camera as well. There we go. Try and just wash some of the soil off the top there as I water the plant. Perfect. I'm so excited about this one because, as I say, already it is absolutely ginormous. And I said it in a video the other day, but I have seen this, like the big mother plant of this one, and it belonged to Emma Good Growing's neighbour. And it was bigger than me. It was absolutely huge. And I have never, up until recently, really been a begonia person. But I would always look at that one and I was like, oh my God, it's so gorgeous. So now my goal is to try and get this one to grow like the original. So yeah, I think that probably will do it fine for the next, I want to say like 3 or 4 months. I don't know this exact type of begonia, but based on how I've noticed their roots kind of spreading and expanding, I would have thought a few months, but we'll come back to it and we'll see. And then, in fact, let's get a smaller pot. I'm just going to decant some of this into here. And then I did just have a look, and I don't actually have grit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a scoop of semi-hydro, because obviously I'm working with a succulent. I want to make sure that it's got really good drainage and it's not quite as dense around the roots. So yeah, I reckon that will be all right. That's what it's kind of looking like. And I'm pretty sure that's similar to what it's in at the moment, actually. But yeah, no, this is an absolute goner. I should, in theory, be able to, oh, you know what I might use this, I was going to say kind of twist the pups out. And I should be able to do that, but I think, seeing as this is me like trying to save the plant, I might cut. Yeah. It's such a pretty little aloe. Isn't it so unusual? I've had so many debates over the years on my channel as to what it actually is. Some people have said, no, that's a Hoerthia. Yeah, other people have said, no, it's a Gasteria. And I have checked, and I am, I want to say completely sure now that this is an Aloe Tiki Tahi. When you Google Aloe Tiki Tahi, this is what comes up. But I know it does look very similar to others. So how many have I got here? I think I've got 3 little pups. And in fact, I wanted to try something potentially a little unconventional. And I think, seeing as I've got a few to play with, I might be able to just, yeah. Oh dear, yeah, no, that's definitely for the bin. But I might give it a go. I think I might take these 2 smaller sections and pot them together. Let me grab it. So yeah, what I was thinking is I've got one of Ross's little creations here, one of his little rosters, and this one has been sat without a plant in it since he made it, and it is designed to grow a plant. And although it's no drainage, I'm thinking I might be able to, I think that might look, I mean, that does look so cool, doesn't it? And then I could just do semi-hydro. I've never done semi-hydro with this type of aloe before. However, I have played about with doing it with some succulents recently, and it has been successful. So I think I'm going to try it. I mean, at the end of the day, I've got backups if this doesn't work. This is the thing. I've got a few bits to play about with, so why not give it a go. And I can monitor it through the little mouth here because he's left clear spaces so I can see. And I probably won't do much of a reservoir for this one because that's what I've been doing for the other succulents. I've just been leaving them kind of like, I don't know, when they're dry, I'll give them a little bit, but not too much because obviously they're much more susceptible to rot. Actually getting the semi-hydro in there is going to be the challenge, I think. Okay, let's see how that goes. Obviously I'll leave it in a very highlight spot and monitor it closely, but I just think that looks so cool and I think Ross will be really happy with that as well. And then yeah, as I say, these other two little sections I'm just going to pot in the mix that I just mixed up, and they're usually super simple to do. I'll just fill it up and then make two little holes and stick them in. And actually that little one just there on the left is kind of the same size as the mother plant when I first got it. And that was, oh, I think that was probably about 5 years ago now, because I got that, oh yeah, almost 5 years when I was just starting to think about like setting up a little shop, a little plant shop. And that was 2020. And then I started on YouTube in the November. In fact, I think it has just been my channel's 4th birthday. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm essentially starting it again. But I think that looks very, very pretty. Oh, and oh my goodness, I feel like I've got through so much today. I know I've actually only done a few things. But yeah, I really hope if you were doing stuff as well, then you got through lots too, because I'm knackered. I'm absolutely knackered. I think I need to go make another coffee and just like snuggle for a bit. I've still got Yoli's dog walk to do, and that's going to be a very rainy dog walk, but in fact, maybe I'll just get that out of the way now. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.